131 for Rizemian Ford, 131 pounds. And his opponent now making his way to the scale. Please welcome Raynell Williams. 130.5, 130.5 pounds for Raynell Williams. Williams v. Ford, 6-round super featherweights matchroom boxing live on DAZN from Cleveland, Ohio.
Raynell Williams, the older brother of Montana Love, 33 years of age, part of the 2008 U.S. Summer Olympic team that featured the likes of Deontay Wilder and Demetrius Andrade. He broke a 4.5-year layoff back in September with a victory. He wants to leave no regrets after that long layoff. Let's go down back to David for the start of the main card weigh-ins.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest, 4 rounds in the super featherweight division. 2 Brazilian fighters going head-to-head. Now making her way to the stage, her professional record, a perfect one. 5 fights, 5 victories, one of them coming by way of knockout. She fights out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Please welcome Tayana Cardoso. Cardoso. And her opponent now making her way to the stage for the first time as a professional. As Saturday night, she'll be making her much anticipated professional debut. She fights out of Salvador, Bahia, Brazil. She is the amateur world champion and the 2020 Olympic silver medalist. Ladies and gentlemen, Beatrice Herrera. Herrera. And out of the scale, Tayana Cardoso. $131 for the undefeated fighter from Sao Paulo, 131 pounds. And out of the scale for the first time as a professional, Beatrice Herrera. 130.5 pounds for Beatrice Herrera, 130.5 pounds. Herrera v. Cardoso, 4-round super featherweights matchroom boxing live on DAZN from Cleveland, Ohio.
Cardoso is unbeaten, making her U.S. debut, but Herrera, there you see her in the white headband. Eddie Hearn saying that Beatrice Herrera is one of the most ferocious pound-for-pound fighters he has ever seen come through the amateur system. 29 years of age, captured silver in Tokyo in 2020, ready to make a statement in her pro debut. Again, this will be 6 3-minute rounds to open up the main card on DAZN. Herrera turning pro, signed with Matchroom over the summer, and she wanted to come out and start her pro career with a bang, so it'll be 3-minute rounds for the Brazilian. Let's get to our next fight, and back to David on stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the first of our 4 title fights as we go 10 rounds for the WBC Continental America's Super Featherweight Championship. Now making his way to the stage, please welcome the challenger. His professional record, 19 victories, 3 defeats, 1 draw, with 15 of his 19 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of right here, Cleveland, Ohio. Please welcome the former WBO Intercontinental Lightweight Champion, the Gunnerman, Thomas Matisse. Matisse. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. He is undefeated in his campaign as a professional with a record of 15 fights, 15 victories, 12 of his 15 wins coming by way of knockout. Presentando de Coama, Puerto Rico, damas y caballeros, here is the reigning and undefeated NABA USA Featherweight Champion and the defending WBC Continental America's Super Featherweight Champion, Christian Tapia. Tapia. Now to the scale, the Gunnerman, Thomas Matisse. $129.5, 129.5 pounds for Thomas Matisse, Gunnerman. And now the defending titleist making his way to the scale, undefeated from Coama, Puerto Rico, Christian Tapia. Also 129.5. Also 129.5 for Tapia. Christian Tapia, Thomas Matisse, 10 rounds for the WBC Continental America's Super Featherweight Championship. Matchroom Boxing live on DAZN from Cleveland, Ohio.
One of the more anticipated fights on this card tomorrow night in Cleveland. Tapia and Matisse, again for the WBC Continental America's Super Featherweight title. Tapia and Matisse, two top 50 ranked 130 pounders. Tapia's gotten the distance in each of his last two fights. Matisse looking for win number 20 as a professional. Back to the stage for Ford Lucas with David Diamante.
The official weigh-in continues in our next contest. We go 10 rounds for the WBA Continental America's Featherweight Championship. Now making his way to the stage, please welcome the challenger. His professional record, an excellent one. 25 victories, only one defeat, one draw, with 17 big wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Windhoek, Namibia. Please welcome the former WBO African Featherweight Champion. They call him Desert Storm, Sicaria Lucas. Lucas. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. He is the defending titleist. He is undefeated in his campaign as a professional with a record of 12 wins, no defeats. He has one draw with 6 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Camden, New Jersey. Saturday night, he makes his third defense of his title. Here is the reigning, the defending, the undefeated WBA Continental America's Featherweight Champion, Raymond Savage Ford. And now to the scale. Desert Storm, Sicaria Lucas. £128, 128 for Sicaria Lucas. And now to the scale, the undefeated Raymond Savage Ford. $126, bang on the featherweight limit for the undefeated Raymond Savage Ford, 126 pounds. Raymond Ford, Sicaria Lucas, 10 rounds for the WBA Continental America's Featherweight Championship. Matchroom Boxing live on DAZN from Cleveland, Ohio.
Ray Savage Ford making his 4th regional title defense with the WBA Continental America's Featherweight Championship, going for his 5th straight win and look to put a cap on a successful 2022 as Ford aims for a title shot in the near future. Currently ranked 8th by the WBA, 14th by the IBF, trying to build off these 2 wins earlier this year. Let's go back down to David for our co-feature weigh-in.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, from Cleveland, Ohio, it's now time to weigh in the chief support of the evening. As Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing, in association with All-Star Boxing, are proud to present 10 rounds for the IBF North American Junior Welterweight Championship. And now making his way to the stage, his professional record, 20 victories, 1 defeat, 1 draw, with 12 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Caguas, Puerto Rico. Here is Yomar, the Magic Alamo. Alamo. And his opponent now making his way to the stage, his professional record, a perfect one. 14 fights, 14 victories, 6 of them coming by way of knockout. He fights out of the beautiful borough of Brooklyn, New York. Here is the 2016 Olympian, Richardson Hitchens. Hitchens. And now to the scale, Yomar, the Magic Alamo. $138.5, $138.5 for Yomar Alamo. And now to the scale, ladies and gentlemen, the undefeated Olympian Richardson Hitchens. 140, bang on, the junior welterweight limit of 140 pounds, bang on for Richardson Hitchens. Hitchens v. Alamo, 10 rounds for the IBF North American Junior Welterweight Championship. Matchroom Boxing in association with All-Star Boxing, live on DAZN from Cleveland, Ohio.
Well, Richardson Hitchens turning, missing the handshake. Whether or not that was intentional, only he knows. Yomar Alamo at 21-1, coming off his first pro defeat, but this is the anticipated debut on Matchroom Boxing for Richardson Hitchens, the Haitian Olympian in the 2016 Olympics. Ask Khalil Ko what Hitchens is like behind the scenes. They both trained and sparred together in the past, and Ko says Hitchens is the goofy one who works hard, makes it fun for everyone around him. He's talking everyone up, bringing the energy, keeping it loose as they work out hard. We are ready to go for the main event weigh-in. Back down to the stage with Diamante for Montana Love and Stevie Spark.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, from Cleveland, Ohio, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome everyone here to the official weigh-in for a big night of fights taking place on Saturday night. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing, and it's now time to weigh in the main event of the evening. 12 rounds for the vacant WBA Intercontinental Super Lightweight Championship. And now making his way to the stage, his professional record, 15 victories, 2 defeats. He has 14 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the former WBC and IBF Australasian Super Lightweight Champion, fighting out of Toowoomba, Queensland, Australia. Please welcome Stevie, the Viking Spark. Spark. And his opponent now making his way to the stage. He is undefeated in his campaign as a professional with a record of 18 victories, no defeats, 1 draw, and 9 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the former IBF North American Super Lightweight Champion, fighting out of and proudly representing his home of Cleveland, Ohio. Please welcome Montana, Too Pretty Love. And now to the scale, the Viking, Stevie Spark. $140, bang on, the super lightweight limit. 140 pounds, bang on for Stevie Spark. 140 pounds. And now to the scale, the undefeated Too Pretty Montana Love. Also 140 pounds, the super weight limit, also 140, bang on for the undefeated Montana Love. Montana Love, Stevie Spark, 12 rounds for the vacant WBA Intercontinental Super Lightweight Championship, Matchroom Boxing, live on DAZN from Cleveland, Ohio.
Well, the chirping back and forth between Love and Spark had really picked up in yesterday's press conference, extending here today as they meet on the stage following the weigh-in to stare down both Love and Spark, weighing 140 pounds on the dot, the super lightweight limit, as they get ready to go to headline this card here in Cleveland tomorrow night on DAZN. Love and Spark. There you see Spark. He told Montana Love he has a glass jaw. He is going down, not just for the win and upsetting Love, spoiling all of this hometown headlining marquee event, but putting him down, knocking him out. He said that he has a glass jaw. On the other hand, Love called Spark a quitter, saying he opted to stay down in his only defeat against Tim Tszyu. But for Spark, a lot of power in his punches. Again, 14 knockouts in 15 career wins. And for Montana Love, 18-0-1 with 9 knockouts. And we're going to be talking with Mr. Eddie Hearn. Eddie, come along in here into the studio. So the chatter extended here. That's better. I appreciate you doing that for me.
Well, it's just my head was popping out of the shot. It wasn't that I'm just a lot taller than you. It's just that you can't see me on camera.
It's the correct aspect ratio here in Cleveland. What was being said there when Love and Spark were going at it once again after the fight?
Montana said that you're weak around the body, so I'm going to break your ribs. Stevie keeps referring to Montana's shoes. They have a very high platform on them. You know, these trainers. And Stevie Spark's up for this fight. I think the most important thing when you get an opportunity like this is to make sure you seize it. And it's very easy to come in and just unwind very quickly in this kind of fight. And that's what Stevie's got to be careful of, because he's all action, right? He's going to be walking Montana Love down. He's going to be throwing big shots. But Montana's a very, very good counterpuncher. He's a classy, technical fighter. And it is a level well beyond Steve's boxed before. I know he boxed Tim Tszyu, but that was at a couple of weeks' notice at 154. So it's a tough ask, but I like fights like this because you've got a B side, really, who could become an A side, could change his life. But you know what it means to him, and you know what he's going to give tomorrow night. And that makes me very excited, because it's not a guy who's going to get hurt and take a knee. It's not a guy who's going to let the fight pass him by and go 12 rounds and lose on decision. This is a guy that's coming with everything to win. And Montana Love, there's a lot of pressure on him, you know, in his hometown, and really a big fight pending in the 140-pound division for him. He's right there now.
You put on a lot of fights in fighters' hometowns outside of the U.S. This is a little different. Doesn't happen all that often. Like we were saying yesterday, the big destinations of the U.S., Vegas, Texas, California. Here in Cleveland, a little bit different. What is hometown pressure for a guy like Montana Love?
It's different kind of stuff. Like, it's your friends being there. It's people phoning up for tickets. It's people wondering where the after party is. You know, it's looking around the crowd, seeing your family, all your local friends that you grew up with. Sometimes that can spur you on, but it can add added pressure. Last time he boxed in Cleveland was probably his best performance against Barancic. You know, that was on the undercard of the Jake Paul card. And that was a real show-stopping performance from Montana Love. So you think that he can step up and give us the same kind of levels, but you know, Spark is a similar fighter to Barancic. All action, come forward. And Montana was hurt in that fight. You saw him down as well in the Valenzuela fight. So Stevie can really punch. And Montana's got to be sharp with it as well, because he doesn't want to be taking and shipping shots to Steve Spark, because he will let his hands go. And you're going to see a really good fight. I tell you, tomorrow's a really good card from top to bottom. You know, names on the undercard you might not necessarily be familiar with, but even going back to the likes of Matisse against Tapia, that's a fantastic fight. Hitchens against Alamo, you know, with the threat of the main event. Even Sicaria Lucas, who's very, very tough, giving some top featherweights deep action, has a very tough fight for Raymond Ford tomorrow. And keep your eyes peeled for Beatrice Herrera. I'm telling you, this young lady is going to be a star of women's boxing.
The build-up's been incredible the last couple of days for Beatrice, but yeah, you have fighters ranked within the top 50 in their respective divisions, all of them on the 4 main attractions on the main card. And for Steve Spark, chance to make a name for himself at 140 pounds. Montana Love, defending his home turf, should be very exciting. Eddie, I thank you for joining us here, and this is going to be probably the final time that I'm a little bit taller than Eddie Hearn. We will talk to you tomorrow from Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland before the bell, beginning at 5:30 p.m. Eastern with Alicia Bumgarner and myself. Until then, take care. We'll see you later here on Matchroom Boxing.
Chess match between these two. how aggressive Love is here.